My last video on Season 2 endgame boss Mekkatorque, and I'll release all the secrets, I'll spill all the beans, and I'll show you the best compositions and how to play them. This is phase 2 of the boss, and I've done quite good damage. As you can see, I did rank 3 on previous day, as well as my overall rank is 4. Obviously this is a whale account, but you can use this strategy with lower inspirations as well. So in phase 2 the boss does slightly more damage, also stun us and applies attack penalty on top of recharge speed penalty, but that attack penalty only inflict on ranged heroes, so melee heroes like Ascetius, Lelvanis are safe. So let's start with the poison team. As you can see, I've done over 1.2 billion damage with it. But to understand this team, you need to see what needs to be done. You need to manually cast Durango's ultimate first, after Corin, and then before Corin. That's important. Look at this. When Vikana casts her ultimate, when we see the ball flying, we need to press Durango's ultimate before Twitch's ultimate. So we have a slight second here, and you need to practice it, and then you press Durango on auto. Once again, this will ensure we have the right synergy that will follow our timings. You also need to make sure you have the right amount of debuffs before we do so, and I'll explain why. Also, resistance on Ogok will be crucial. Once you've done that, you're just looking for huge damage, and the changes that I've done is increasing resistance on Ogok and sharing that resistance with the team. We don't really care about stun for anyone than Ogok. Ogok still has to run on 15-second rotation, otherwise our team will fall. And this was the only change that I've done, as no one else is running any resistance, as you can see, and the team that did over 1.2 billion damage in the first phase of the boss does the same in the second phase of the boss. But you can also change this strategy. You can build your heroes with resistance and use, instead of using accuracy, use the resistant aura as well. Both of them work, and see what works best for you. Because even the timings are exactly the same. Just this manual strategy, manual casting is essential. Oh, and I forgot to mention, yes, we need to time Dargo at 30 seconds right now, because the 15-second will not happen because he does not run the resistance. If you like this in-depth explanation of what's happening with each team, please consider using Gorax1 with capital G code on this website, where you will get free rewards and you'll be able to support me as well, helping me grow this channel. All the information will be in the linked comment as well as the video description. You can always see the code in each of my videos on the bottom left corner. Now let's move on to the team that did the most damage. This is the Burn team, and slight change, I didn't use Berengar this time, I used Huldork. And Huldork's here to mitigate damage, okay? He's here to reduce the damage of the boss, as we have 0 healing. This team did only slightly less damage than it did in previous phase. So here is the team and the placement. The only change that you might notice in my team is I'm not really using much accuracy on Ascetius. Usually it's recommended to have at least 150, but I got more damage with playing him this way, focusing on crit damage. Again, no resistance, which means he will avoid 15-second rotation, but I brought in Huldork, and I'll need to explain to you why we bring in Huldork and how Huldork formation work. So in phase 1, you don't really need resistance. In phase 2, you do need resistance and you need accuracy. You also need a lot of haste, and you need to avoid any attack speed on your runes. When I had attack speed on that rune, I couldn't pull this off. Also, as you can see, I'm not using any mythic equipment. We don't want any interruptions here, okay? We want just to have Huldork casting his battle skill, not even his ultimate skill. Okay, and I'll show you all of that. And as you can see, I didn't change much when it comes to other equipment, just Huldork, and I put Huldork in. And if you can survive the whole battle, please be my guest. Use the Wave Breaker. This will help you survive, but try both of these skills and see which one works. as I said, slight timing adjustment. We have to move our heroes down from the 20-second that we had the first cast on to 16.5 to avoid that stun, because they will get stunned. Okay, they have 0 resistance, they'll get stunned, and this is why also we recast Ascetius ultimate every 30 seconds instead of 15. Now moving on to the fight, what you want to do is cast first Huldork ultimate and then just skip it. So once we cast that, we apply all the debuffs that we should be applying. And now we're focusing on one thing. Only one thing matters for our team to survive and do significant damage, and that's called Proud Transmission. We want this debuff to be at 3 stacks all the time. We don't want to drop the stacks, we can't increase them, but that gives us 90% damage reduction. And with the shield we have this extra healing that is enough to keep our team alive. And as you can see, that's what we're doing. Since we're not casting his ultimate, we're not losing time. We're constantly casting the battle skill, keeping this at 3 stacks and taking barely any damage. The only time we will start taking damage is at the end of the battle. Now keep in mind, you'll need to play with skill haste. You might have enough to keep his ultimate rolling, or you might have not enough to pull this strategy, okay? Keep that in mind, it's crucial. Also, having him an Inspiration 3 does help, as it grants us 30 skill haste. Now my third highest damage was done with summons. I'm using Gladris, but I tried Urzilas instead, and it does work, but it's very RNG and yields similar results, so I opted out for the safer option to save some sanity and time. So with this team, we're gonna use Gladros. I might have misspoken previously, apologies for that. But the reason why we use Gladros here is we need debuff immunity. Do we really? I mean, Levanis is immune to attack penalty, but Cinderella would like that as well. But the most important thing is when we have a shield and we are inflicted with control effects, we will dispel them and grant us immunity to that control. So we don't want Lelvanis to get controlled at all, because when she does, then her whole rotation does damage after the spawns disappear, after the minions disappear. So we want to do that before they disappear, right? So that's the most important part. And here are the skill timings for this to happen. We delay Gladros slightly just to avoid attack penalty on Cinderella, but you can play it on default. You can also play it with Hourglass if you don't have enough haste to pull it off. If you play it with Hourglass, you don't need to delay it. However, you're losing that resistance, that ribcage buff. We still need to delay Dark Lady's ultimate to happen on the second rotation, so we don't end up killing these little minions. Because if we end up killing these little minions, we are not going to trigger this. You need to keep them alive for this to happen. So you need to watch your debuffs. I'm just gonna show you what I mean during this fight. So if you see, I killed all the minions, but I still managed to get my 6 debuffs. Now, when Dark Lady casts her ultimate, I'm gonna jump to 8. If I don't do that, if I don't get this recharge speed penalty proc, I will end up with 7 debuffs and reduce my damage by 10%. So for that to work, you need to keep 1 minion alive, and sometimes I had to remove Burnate Inspiration down because they were killing it too fast. So sometimes too much wailing is not good. And if you want to run this team with Urzilas, you'll need to change a few things. You'll need Cinderella with Sustain, as well as this, to help her remove the attack penalty. This will reduce your damage slightly because your attack will reduce, which means we'll have less attack through her passive added to Lelvanis. And also Urzilas will need a lot of resistance to still be able to do 15-second rotation, but if he gets 1 stun, your whole rotation is going to fall off because you will not have the buffs before Lel'Vannis ultimate. And in this case, we also want resistance on Lel'Vannis. So while this will work and will still grant you good damage, it's harder to pull off if you're already struggling with gearing up your heroes. Now we're moving on to the team that did over 830 million and the team that I hate with all the passion. In this team, we need to manually cast Filto's ultimate, which is annoying and I refuse to do it going forward. You can obviously try and play the lazy timings at 11.1 and default depending on how much haste you have, and the team will follow with these timings. There's only one change really that I did is put in resistance chest instead of enlightenment chest on Jillian and adding resistance rune on Filto as well to ensure he doesn't get stunned. You want to do the same thing for everyone else in the team, as if they got stunned, the whole rotation falls off. So this is a really RNG fight that is driving me nuts, but it does work well. Make sure you also use the right aura to increase your damage. Ice Blast is the first of the two teams that can still do over 500 million in phase 2 of this boss, and they do really well. I had to actually try multiple times to achieve that damage. It's very random as it is with Ice Blast. I managed to pull it. Obviously, I had to add resistance to Ardref to ensure she can do a lot of, she can basically spread this resistance around to Beldel, she can spread this resistance to Zorak, who already has high resistance because he's using the cage, and Sheena as well. I also changed full mythic Sheena into the emissary crown one, as we are still using Iceberg set here to get this 50% chance of applying frozen. As similar, we want to apply this to have multiple debuffs. I did have to, however, move Sagomir away from Ardref because he needs to get this applied for that to work, okay? So with single target, as this is a single target, and as you can see, I'm not using any castings, we're going to go fully auto, and this is why it's so random. We want these minions to survive, and when they die, they'll spread recharge speed penalty on a Sagomir, basically, and then this moves on to 50% chance to trigger it on the boss, so our debuffs count. We need to watch it to make sure we have the highest stacks possible. But yes, 500 million is possible, it is just very random, and you could see this played out with Felucia and Asila as well, but with those I had less damage done than with this combination of supports. And lastly, my scraps. When it comes to the poison team, still doing 536 million, they do drop a little bit, and I didn't do any changes to this team, and they still do well damage. In previous phase, they did 570, now 536, I'll take it. So this is the team on the screen. Obviously, I said leftovers, but this icon has Lothier at the Inspiration 5. Obviously, if you have high Inspired Lothier, you also have his exclusive artifact, but it's not mandatory. As you can see, I'm not running any resistance whatsoever here. We don't want resistance basically on any of our damage dealers, as they are on 30 seconds rotation. We don't even do it on Nathaniel because he is not at 15-second rotation. The team survives well with Reita obviously in the team, so we don't bother about that. The only thing that changed is the timings. Because now Lothier does get stunned, we had to move from our 16.5 second start of his ultimate to 15-second rotation. You can try 14 and a half as well, just don't go over 15 because you will get stunned and lose a lot of damage through his ultimate. And that covers this video, guys. Let me know in the comment section down below how much damage you dropped, because obviously most of us will drop damage, or how much damage you gain. And I hope this video will be useful for those who are coming after us, as they will have all the strategies available to them. Just copy paste what I'm doing with the equipment I'm doing. Don't be lazy, don't use the codes, build the teams yourself so you can understand what the game is all about. and do tremendous damage, rank high, and good luck to you all. Hopefully you achieved the ranking you wanted. If not, there's always next season. Thank you for watching. Stay safe. Bye.